and I'm being joined by Olalekan Adebayo. Good afternoon, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure, yes, really. Let's start with what we saw, the action over the weekend. Basketball, you know, but Spain, you think they're deserving champions?
Yes, of course, they actually really tried. When I didn't really follow through, but I saw the news and I was like 4 times. Well, it's
quite impressive.
It's very, very impressive.
You had the Annan Gomez brothers, you know, running strings. You had Wancho scoring 23 points. You had a brother 14 points, but Willie, you know, despite having 14 points in the final, was named as the MVP. You think overall, during the course of Spain's amazing run, Willie Annan Gomez deserved it?
Yes, I would say he deserves it. He deserves it to a point. The way he played, the kind of passion that he showed throughout those run of games, I think he deserves it.
It deserves it. And for Spain, it must be said that that 4th gold medal came just after 6 tries. In other words, their 6th appearance at the Eurobasket. They've been able to win 4 gold medals. It shows you how impressive and a force they are to reckon with when it comes to the Eurobasket. The defending champions before were the Slovenians, but they got dumped out in the quarterfinal stages by Poland, and you have Spain as the new champions of the Eurobasket. It's quite impressive to see. For the French national team, it was not a very good one. Evans Fournier was the one who top scored for the French with 23 points. You had Rudy Gobert, yes, the Minnesota Timberwolves, you know, center, restricted to just 6 points. It shows you how, you know, mean the defense of the Spanish were in terms of stifling the offensive outlets of the French national team. But you have to give credit to the Spanish. They deserve the title at this point in time. Still talking about basketball, because we had basketball on display over the weekend. Yesterday, or rather at the wee hours of today, because Nigerian time definitely differs from the United States, you had the WNBA finals. Now, that doesn't get as much buzz as the NBA finals. I mean, there's still that disparity, you know, not just in terms of pay, but also viewership. But the women's game is definitely gaining traction in terms of followership and viewership in recent times. The WNBA finals took place. Game 4 was yesterday, or rather this morning, and it was between the Las Vegas Aces as well as the Connecticut Suns. And it was the Aces who won to clinch a 3-1 win and seal their first title, also becoming the first major franchise to bring a professional sports title to the city of Las Vegas. What do you make of that win? Quite impressive, you know, it must be said.
Yes, to bring in their first title, it's something very, very impressive, like you said, and something doing it as their first one. I think they'll be very, very happy, and they actually showed so much tenacity for it and passion for it, and I'm happy they got it.
Okay, talking about the tenacity, it had to take Chelsea Gray. Yes, that's the Las Vegas Ace guard, who was the one that was you know, top scored for them with 20 points, had 9 from 13 on the field, and was also named the most valuable player of the tournament, talking about the WNBA finals. She got assist from likes of Kelsey Plum with 16 points. You had Rakina Williams with 17 points, Jack Young with 13 points, and the league's MVP, Aya Wilson, had 11 points and 14 rebounds. Quite impressive, it must be said. For the Connecticut Suns, the fell shot, you had Courtney Williams scoring 17 points, Alyssa Thomas 11 points as well, while the former league MVP, talking about John Carroll Jones, had 13 points, but that wasn't to be for the Suns. Overall, the Aces are deserving. In the first round, they swept the Phoenix Mercury in round 1. In the semifinal of the WNBA postseason, they were able to defeat Seattle by 3-1. And in the final against Connecticut Suns, they did the same thing, dispatching them by 3-1. So, you know, to win the chip, it must be said. Quite impressive for the Las Vegas Aces. What do you make of that cameo appearance? Because you do not expect a substitute to score a hat-trick. Not because it's not possible, but you don't expect it to be that quick, especially within 13 minutes.
Well, I think Heung-min Son actually showed people like what there have been some critics about him playing like some games and not scoring goals or throwing any assists and some things like that. So I think he just get to show them that he can be very good when he needs to be good, and it's something. Into that match, I saw him on the bench. I was wondering.
Surprisingly.
why is he on the bench? And Richarlison was not even playing. Like his ball, I would say his game was poor for that day. So I didn't expect him to start. But when Son came in and scoring those goals, especially you can't say this is his weak foot, because seeing those two the two goals, I'm like, okay, the guy is very good. He's very, very good, and he just showed the coach why he should always play.
Always play. Okay. Talking about Heung-min Son, remember he was the joint top scorer in the Premier League last season alongside Salah with 23 strikes. And there were question marks regarding his form because he hadn't scored in the first 6 matches of the season and was just struggling in front of goal. But yesterday, he was able to remind everyone once again why he's a quality player, one of the top players in the Premier League. As we said, 3 goals within the space of 13 minutes. And it must be said as well, it was a shock, his exclusion from the starting 11. Aside, issues of injury or just returning from injury, Heung-min Son has always been a constant when it comes to Premier League fixtures, especially for Tottenham Hotspur. That was his first substitute appearance since 2017 in terms of not being, in the starting 11 aside from injuries and all. So it's also a perfect way to respond, not just to critics, but also his coach that next time puts me right there on the list. Talking about another team that is flying right about now, that's Arsenal Football Club, and we have to talk about title credentials. Again, it's early, but 7 games in, Arsenal are beginning to show not just improvement under Arteta from last season, but are beginning to show some title credentials. This is Brentford, or this was Brentford. Man U went there, they considered 4 goals. Well, yes, you want to say it was when Man U were struggling early on in the season, but no one was expecting Brentford to be swept, relatively easily like that. So, what do you make of the performance from Arsenal?
I think Arsenal has really, really improved. I think they've gotten, most of the small details they've gotten it in order as they should, and I think they will really go far this season. Probably the top 4 should be sure, but I think their major matches will be against the big teams, how they will be able to play and hold out against these big teams. And I think where the major title credentials will come out will be in October, because they have, I think, 5, 6, 7 games plus the Europa League. Yes, if they can top the league coming out of October,
the hectic
schedule. I think they should be considered as real title credentials to win.
Right now, I still don't think that title credentials.
Right now, I think they are top 4. I'll put them for top 4, not for title credentials, because Arsenal is a team that they having a second team. It's not really sure. You can't really bench like 7, 8 players out of their first team and play and they can win the games. I'm not really seeing that. So seeing how they'll be able to play the Europa League with their matches that were postponed all around in October, and if they can win those games and come out well, I think then
they will be able to do that. Okay. Due to time constraints, we won't be able to talk about Manchester City or bring you the highlights, but we'll do that tomorrow because Manchester City were also winners over the weekend and Haaland can't just stop scoring. But let's turn our attention now to Spain and that Spanish football. Real Madrid defeating Atletico Madrid in the Madrid derby by 2-1. There is no Karim Benzema, no problem, as Real Madrid are still winning. This is their best start to the Spanish La Liga since 1987. 6 wins out of 6. Carlo Ancelotti's men are definitely not joking. 2 goals up before, Ramos got a goal late on to make it a bit dicey. But you think the youngsters are, living up to the billing? Rodrigo, you have Vinicius Jr., Tchouaméni. I mean, we can go on and on with the list. Who do you think can stop Real Madrid at this point in time?
Well, I think probably the only person that might beat them is Barcelona, because those people have a way of just beating them even when they're in form or not. Minus that, I think Real Madrid will get the league again and will compete go as far as probably semi-final or finals in the Champions League. Because I think Ancelotti has done a very good job getting the best, because most of these players are not players that he brought into the team.
Exactly.
But he was able to get the best of each and every one of these players. And Vinicius Jr., like 2-3 years ago, wasn't playing well and now playing at his best form. Having Rodrigo, a bench player, coming in and improving, scoring. And so I think Ancelotti has done a very good job on these players and really improved them. And
that must be said that the victory was away from home.
It's a kind of match that they struggle. They struggle to have a draw, not just beating them and probably just at
Atletico.
getting a goal.
Even without Benzema.
Without Benzema,